Hello and welcome back to Nerd News Today, Toy Fair 2021. Joining us on the other side of the screen now, all the way from the UK, he's one of our favorites to visit at Toy Fair every year, Mr. Andrew Sumner from Titan Merchandising. Andrew, how are you today?
I'm very well, thanks. Matt, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's great to talk to you. You're one of the guys who I always look forward to meeting the most and seeing the most at Toy Fair every single year, and it just sucks that's not going to
Oh,
happen
you're
at
very
Javits.
kind, mate. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, funnily enough, Javits was the last time I was in the US. As you know, I spend usually 6 months of my year in the USA, and when we met at Javits last year, that was the last time I visited the US. I've been locked down in London since then, mate.
Wow, we've all been locked down. It's been a crazy, crazy time. I'm glad you're staying safe over there though, and hopefully 2022 we'll get to see you at Toy Fair, and we'll see if Comic-Con happens this year, but probably not.
Fingers crossed, mate. I think there's no way San Diego can happen, would be my guess. I mean, there's a bit of a maybe about New York, I guess, but I
Very
really
slim.
can't see it, to be honest, mate. I really can't see it. I think, if things move in the right direction, and things aren't really moving in the right direction at the moment, you've got to get the vaccines into people's arms, and then you've got to let it go throughout the population. So that work doesn't take weeks and months. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's going to be a long going.
It will be, mate. It will be.
And I love your prisoner mug right there, by the way. You're drinking your lovely
Oh
prisoner
yeah,
mug.
exactly. There we go.
I feel like that's a metaphor of the
Well,
entire
I'm lucky enough
pandemic.
to live in the UK, so I've been able to visit Port Marion a bunch of times where they filmed The Prisoner. It's an amazing place, magical. One of my favourite places in the UK, actually. Totally urge anybody to go there. And you 1000% know exactly where you are when you're walking around that place. It's truly magical.
Just watch out for any floating bubbles.
Right on. Yeah, run away from those large bouncing white balloons if they hove into view.
So, Andrew, can you remind our audience today, what is your title over at Titan?
It's Executive Vice President. I'm the EVP of Titan Entertainment Group. And Titan Entertainment Group comprises, broadly speaking, 4 different divisions, which is Titan Merchandise, which I run directly, which is the youngest part of the company. And then there's Forbidden Planet, which is our UK-based retail chain. And if you're an American listener to this, viewer to this, and you've not heard of Forbidden Planet outside of the movie, the Forbidden Planet retail chain is kind of the biggest like pop culture cult kind of nerd store in the UK and Europe. Very like Newbury Comics, but famous here in the UK. The flagship store in London, which I present the broadcast channel for on YouTube, Forbidden Planet TV. That flagship store is it's an amazing place. It's the biggest cult store in the world. It's a big tourist destination. You get your handbook to go to London. It's in there. And normally it's a thriving and very busy place. It is not a thriving place. It's thriving, but it's not physically very busy at the moment for obvious reasons. Do you know what I mean? So like virtually all our business is done online at present. But yeah, when the stores and whatnot in the UK open up, we're massively locked down here in the UK at the moment. We're talking about this. When the UK is visitable again, come to Forbidden Planet at 179 Shaftesbury Avenue in London. It's an amazing place. You would love it, mate.
Oh yeah, I visit the New York store a lot, the Union Square Forbidden Planet. Yeah. I've been going there for years, and when I found out you were affiliated with it, I was like, well, what a small world, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Forbidden Planet logo actually is designed by a guy called Ryan Hughes, who's a well-known comic book designer and writer, also my former housemate. So yeah, it's all 6 degrees of separation, mate. So I didn't even finish off telling you about the rest of the company. That was Forbidden Planet. And then there's Titan Books, which are famous for doing, we have a hard case crime imprint, which does noir books and PI books. We do a ton of science fiction, as you know, ton of science fiction. We do a whole range of coffee table books tied into movies and tied into Star Trek and the world of Harry Potter and the world of. We've done a bunch of Christopher Nolan coffee table books, bunch of J.J. Abrams, all kinds of things like that. And if you go to any Comic Con, you'll see a ton of Titan product around. And then we've also got a comics imprint, and we produce a ton of comics. We produce all the Doctor Who comics globally, and we also publish the Star Wars Insider magazine, and we also publish the Star Trek magazine. We do a ton of Star Trek publishing.
Which is great to know. We're going to also be speaking to Andrew in depth on a future episode of Trek Untold, so if you're listening to that podcast, stay tuned for that. So Andrew, let's
Amen.
talk some Titan vinyls now. And so
Mhm.
last year when we talked, I think the big thing for you guys was more of the anime figures. So what are the plans for
Absolutely.
2021?
And so that's a really good question because, of course, our plans for 2020 got completely paused by the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Now that we can begin to see a roadmap out of where we are, everybody that is, not just me, the collective, we of commerce and international retail, you will start to see our anime titans appear from the middle of the year, from the middle of 2021. So we've just announced, because by the time this screens, it'll be out there. You've seen our My Hero Academia Wave 2 Titans, the What's My Quirk collection, which I think I showed you the visuals for a year ago. But of course, we never got around to producing those. Then we're going to be doing Attack on Titan. Then we've got a range of other great anime licenses. That is our main focus for this year. And so also coming up, we have Cowboy Bebop, we have Doctor Stone, we have Fire Force. We have a bunch of great anime properties, and that's really our focus for this year, along with some more Beatles as usual. Yeah, we've got a new all metallic Beatles set coming. I think our activity with regard to say licenses like Doctor Who and Star Trek, that'll be pretty much dependent upon what happens in the fan space. So I would expect to see, more Doctor Who and Star Trek items as the Comic Con world comes back. So therefore, probably not until next year.
So when we're talking Doctor Who and Star Trek items, are you specifically talking about only con exclusives, or are you talking about mass release items?
I would say that con exclusives will be our focus. Yeah, our focus. So Doctor Who, from a merchandise perspective, not from a televisual perspective, from a merchandise perspective, as you all know, is a lot quieter than it used to be. And so most of our Doctor Who activity is tied around very fan specific events. Yeah, and that will be the case, I think, for our Star Trek merch as well, for the merchandise, not for the publishing.
Now, are you able to tell us any little details whatsoever about those con exclusives? Not saying name names, but will there be new tooling involved, or are these just going to be most likely repaints or redecos of previously released
Um,
figures?
well, yeah, there would be new tooling. I mean, I can give you a flavour of some of the things. What you would have seen for the conventions in 2020 would have been quite a few exclusives tied into our um, DC Arrowverse line. So we had some. You've seen some of these pieces, but we released Green Arrow and White Canary, and then we released John Constantine. But we had a great Flash set that we were working on. It was all approved, but it never got produced. And we did some stuff with the Legends of the DC Legends as well. That's you're definitely going to see at some point when shows revive. You're going to see those Flash pieces. They're probably going to be the first things that we put out, I think.
So outside of con exclusives, are there plans for new full waves of Doctor Who, Star Trek, or in this case, the DC characters as well?
Well, in all of those cases, they will really be dependent upon, how quickly the demand for that stuff comes back at retail. So yeah, do we have plans? We absolutely do. But one of the things that is really, really guides us in terms of what we release is what is, in vogue and what's popular from a merchandise perspective in that moment. To me, and kind of what's hot. The way we work is our business is structured upon selling to retail. So retail has got to want that license and got to want to sell it, and then we'll make it. And that could be anything we've got the license for. So at this moment, there's a lot of focus on anime, quite rightly, because anime has captured everybody's imagination. And you and I both know, mate, the thing about fandom is it has peaks and troughs, right? You have years where something's just exploding. Like you will recall, as do I, 5 or 6 years ago at San Diego at New York Comic Con, Doctor Who was simply on fire around about the time of the 50th
Oh yeah,
anniversary.
you guys are selling out of the Doctor Who stuff all the time at cons, I think like the
Um,
first day.
it was just capturing the zeitgeist, And we've been lucky. We've continued to have like sellout items, some of which are Doctor Who, and some other licenses. We tend to always sell out at Comic Con and at both San Diego and New York, and that's a good scenario. But so we do definitely have plans. As to when we implement those plans, that will really depend upon retail. I would imagine that it's going to be a fairly light year for us and Doctor Who and for Star Trek in 2021. And I think most of our endeavour will be anime based and Kawaii Titans based. Although there is some stuff that we're going to be doing in the superhero space, the Arrowverse space, which I talked about. And then I can think of at least one other sector, which I can't tell you about at the moment, where we've got some plans to produce some product in an area we've not actually produced very much in before. A sliver of fan TV production and genre TV production that we haven't really produced a great deal of figures for. That is something we're also going to do. I just can't announce it quite yet, mate.
So, Andrew, can you tell us who is in the My Hero Academia wave?
Yeah, for sure. So the second wave is going to be called the What's Your Quirk collection, and it's going to feature Deku. And I'm not brilliant with how you pronounce these names, so if you've got better, pronunciations than me, kind of please weigh in, mate. So we've got, and I've got an English accent as well, which blurs the lines somewhat as well. So we're doing Deku, we're doing Shota Aizawa, we're doing Katsuki Bakugo. Mina Ishido, Tsuyu Asui, Fumikaze Tokuyami, All for One, and Stain. They are going to be the next wave of My Hero Academia.
That was pretty good pronunciation. I'll give you that. That was good. I'll accept that.
Oh, thanks, mate. I'm okay with Japanese. It's just saying these things in Americanized Japanese is not so easy for me.
I got you for sure.
Yeah, so and there will be more My Hero Academia beyond that point as well.
Great. Now, are there plans to also do any upscaled figures? We've seen Titan do that before with some of the Star Trek and Doctor Who stuff.
I mean, it's always on the table for us to do is upscales, and you will at some point see upscale figures again. With often those are predicated on doing them for shows, etc., doing them as exclusives. I don't think we're going to get the opportunity to do that probably until next year. But watch this space.
All right. So can you also tell us about the Attack on Titan figures? Is that going to be also a full wave?
Yeah, will also be a full wave, and it's pretty cool actually. We're pleased with what we managed to put together there. So we're going to do for Attack on Titan. We're going to do Eren Jaeger, Levi Ackerman, Mikasa Ackerman, Armin Arlelt, Hangazoe, Armored Titan, Eren Jaeger in the Titan form, and Colossal Titan, but all as 3-inch figures.
I'm very excited to see how you guys are going to do the Titans as well, because I mean, those are tough ones to do.
No, they're tough, but that's the joy of it, really. I mean, that really is the joy of it. And I can't go into the details of the waves, but I can tell you some of the other things we're working on are Dr. Stone, or Mob Psycho 100, Cowboy Bebop, which is a personal favourite, Fire Force, and we're also working on Junji Ito.
Oh wow! I cannot wait to see what you guys can do with Junji Ito, because that is some freaky stuff.
Junji Ito is very interesting to get into.
To put it lightly, yes.
Yeah.
So are these going to be basically like separate kind of packs? Like we'd see like maybe here's a 2-pack of Dr. Stone, here's a 2-pack of Cowboy Bebop, or is this going to be like an anime series that you're launching?
It's anime series. So these will all be sets that we'll be producing. Will we do standalone 2-packs and 3-packs? Yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely. But there will be doing multiples of. We'll be doing our sets for all of those ranges. That is the plan. The other thing, mate, that I can tell you about that's quite interesting is that we had a lot of success, not this Christmas just gone, but the one previously, with holiday baubles, and we'll be doing more of those Christmas tree baubles, which, if you think about it, Titans are uniquely suited to that kind of activity.
Yeah, I enjoyed seeing those last year at Toy Fair, and you guys had the My Hero ornaments. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like how you're basically repurposing those
Yeah.
figures. And I know people are liking them, because who doesn't want to put a toy in their Christmas tree?
Correct, exactly. We did a set that was an exclusive for Rhino Records, actually, for the Monkeys. If you ever watched the Monkeys TV show, there's a famous part of the title sequence which is 60s Batman style with them in kind of monkey and superhero outfits. We see them flying off a balcony. And we did a 4-pack of those for as Christmas tree ornaments for the Monkey Men for Rhino Records, the time with the Monkeys Christmas album. That was a lot of fun to work. So yeah, we'll be doing more of that as well, mate.
And so last thing here you mentioned was the Beatles. You're doing metallic Beatles, right? So where's that going to be
Yeah,
available?
we
What's
are.
that
So
like?
metallic paint. So they're kind of metallic paint effect. So it's a 6.5-inch version of our version of the yellow sub, but with metallic paint. And then it's a 3-inch set of the 4 Beatles done with metallic paint also. So we produced regular Beatles, we produced Sergeant Pepper Beatles, and we produced glow in the dark Beatles, all in that format. The Beatles just is a perennial seller for us. It's one of our most popular licenses. And so, yeah, we've got this metallic effect. And I think also what we're going to do this year, mate, is we're going to re-release wave 1 of our Beatles Titans. When we released wave 1 in the first place, which is the classic yellow submarine Beatles, it was a huge success for us. It's been sold out for a couple of years now, but we did it in our original packaging format, which it was blind boxed, and you get it in counter display units of 20, PDQs of 20. This will probably redo that same way, but it'll be window boxed, and you will get it in our double decked CDU PDQ of 18 figures. So that again probably be middle of the year, I would say.
Yeah, those Beatles figures are great. I know they've been real big sellers for you guys also, but they're wonderful looking figures.
Yeah,
Yellow Submarine stuff, especially series 2. I loved how expansive that character, that whole line got.
yeah,
Such a good
yeah.
series. Yeah, collectors will love that stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the truth is, we could have gone to a series 3. We were able to pull out a series 3, but it would have been so esoteric, that both ourselves and the guys at Apple were like, "Well, this will look cool, but is anybody actually going to buy this?" Because they're really. It's not even like if you go think of all the characters from Yellow Submarine. We're not even talking about the ones you'd think of. The ones that me as a Beatles super fan would know off the top of my head. But they're characters who appear in the corner of the screen for 2 seconds. You know what I mean? So, but we've got some other cool tweaks on the Yellow Submarines that we're going to be doing in future, which I'm looking forward to. Which I can't tell you about, but they will be cool.
So beyond anime, beyond Doctor Who and Star Trek, what we talked about today, one of the things that Titan did quite a lot a few years back was a lot more TV shows. You had things like you guys were doing Breaking Bad, you guys had done Game of Thrones, lots of really great titles like that. Are you guys continuing to work with HBO, AMC, or any other networks to produce or talk about producing
We're
more of those things?
definitely continuing to talk to them, mate. We've got some licenses that what the standard of what we produce is very high. And we've been very lucky to do a broad breadth of excellent kind of cable television, pay-per-view TV shows. And you've named, in terms of popularity, while they're among the best executed, they're also among the most popular. So we did Breaking Bad. It was a big success for us. Game of Thrones, it was a big success for us. You and I both know, like everybody else, that the problem with those shows is they've got to capture the public imagination. So we've also done series within those formats. I won't name them, but you'll know exactly the ones I'm talking about, where the figures that we've done are great, but the show just hasn't caught on in the way that Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones has caught on. And in fact, Game of Thrones itself, because it had a fairly contentious final episode, right, that had the side effect of turning a lot of people off almost instantly, right? So the interesting thing I think about Breaking Bad is that Breaking Bad as a merchandise, from a merchandise perspective, peaked like a year after the show had finished. Because when the show finished, that's when tons of people who never watched it binged the whole thing, and it became a real thing, right? Every now and again you get great shows that don't end particularly well for the fan base, and the opposite happens. Kind of kills the interest in the merchandise attached to that show, which is, merchandise for Game of Thrones was booming, right? Absolutely booming, but you don't see so much of it now. You know what I mean, Matt?
Yeah, it's not surprising because I'm going to stores and I'm still seeing Game of Thrones merchandise in clearance bins. So it's amazing how much the fan
Yeah.
base just kind of gave up on it after that last season.
Yeah, it was incredibly quick. To go from being so lauded and so loved. But I've seen, other great shows that I absolutely loved. cool off their audience pretty quickly just by ending in a way. Ending shows is tough. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I'm not capable of, writing and producing and directing a long running TV show. But for every show that, say, like Breaking Bad or like Shield ends really well and people love that final episode, there are tons of like Game of Thrones or Dexter would be another great example, of a show that I absolutely loved, but it's got a very controversial final episode that a lot of people don't like. And often those final episodes that end things in a way that's unsatisfying to the viewer, that nearly always translates in terms of reducing the long tail of interest that follows behind the show. Whereas if you get it right, like Breaking Bad did, it can completely go in the other direction.
So does that kind of mean that in this case that Titan's going to basically be staying in the anime area for the next, let's say, 2 or 3 years? Anime potential for Doctor Who and Star Trek, and not really looking at any other TV properties or film properties at this current moment.
Not really. It's more a case of you have to be mindful of the fact that development for what we do takes a long time, a minimum of 6 months and usually a year to get it to the level where we're pleased with it. Because as we've talked about many times in the past, we're real perfectionists, right? And we want to get it absolutely right, and that takes time. So you get it. I want to get it absolutely right, but also you've got to try and pick a TV property that is going to be, just as big or bigger or growing in interest a year from when you sign the deal, and they don't come around a lot. They do come around. Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones are great examples of them. But I could point to a couple of other shows that we've done, which have been popular, but just haven't kicked it to the same degree. Yeah, I've got shows that I'd love to do. I mean, who other people have those licenses. I would absolutely love to do Rick and Morty. Yeah, I love that show. But so does everybody else, and there's good stuff that's already out there. Yeah, and we had a great success with Cartoon Network for a lot of years, as you know. That was very pleasing to work on, and again we had a great success with Archer. The thing about Archer is Archer really was a kind of one and done like series. A lot of TV projects you can get one great wave out of it, but then you can't really. Doctor Who is very unusual, and there's 50 years of it, or Star Trek's very unusual. There's 50 years of it. A lot of TV shows just don't have that ready-made audience where you can go, right, I've done wave one and now I can do wave two, now I can do wave three. I mean, I think we did 13 waves of Doctor Who in total, and that is a massive amount. Do you know what I mean? It's a huge amount of stuff to release.
So Andrew, outside of that, you mentioned Forbidden Planet earlier. I know you're doing some online stuff with Forbidden Planet too, with Forbidden Planet TV. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course, mate. Of course. So again, our retail chain in the UK, Forbidden Planet. One of the things that we launched during the pandemic, during lockdown, was a broadcast channel on YouTube, Forbidden Planet TV. Like I said before, there's a lot. If you work in the genre space and you visit London or you are English, you will absolutely know about the Forbidden Planet store in London, because it's the destination for anybody in our industry. And of course, London is very busy in genre terms because of the 3 movie studios that we have, Ealing, Pinewood, and oh man, what's the third one? Shepperton. Yeah, and between those movies, between those studios and Leavesden as well, which is where they do Harry Potter. Between those studios, you cover off the Harry Potter movies, you cover off the Star Wars flicks, lots of the Marvel movies, lots of the Alien movies, lots of all the James Bond movies. So they're constantly, in a normal year, they're in production. So we have so many celebrity customers and so many well-known people who sign for us. And so the Forbidden Planet TV channel is dedicated to interviewing talented people of all stripes who have some connection with the store, usually tied in around something they've launched that we're selling at Forbidden Planet. So I speak to a lot of authors, I speak to a lot of comic book creators, writers and artists. I speak to a lot of movie people. So I guess we've been up and running for about 4 or 5 months, and in the course of that time, if you follow the links, which I know you're going to put up for Forbidden Planet TV, and you go over there, you'll see that I've been speaking to guys like Simon Pegg, to people like Evangeline Lilly from Ant-Man and the Wasp, to people like Dan Curry, who's the special effects guru for Star Trek, from Star Trek Next Gen and Voyager and Deep Space Nine, and a whole ton of people like that, a whole ton of authors. The interview that we put up today, as we're talking, is with the Dan Fogler, who plays Kowalski in the Fantastic Beasts film, and he also is in The Walking Dead. And he has launched a range of comics that he writes for Heavy Metal with a bunch of really famous comic book artists. So yeah, it's basically that kind of stuff. You know, I interviewed Moffat and Gatiss about Sherlock and Doctor Who, and kind of I interviewed Alice Cooper, you know, Simon Pegg. The list kind of goes on, really, mate. And so that's what that is all about. We generally have about 3 to 4 fresh interviews every week. And if you're into this space, yeah, and by the time this goes live, we'll probably have a podcast version of it up on all the various podcatchers as well.
So, Andrew, I forgot to ask this question at the start of the interview, so I'm going to go ahead and ask it now here as we wrap things up. What was your favorite toy growing up as a kid?
Oh, that's such an excellent question, mate. So, true story. I wasn't really a massive toy fan as I was growing up. I was much more into comic books, and I was much more into reading than into playing with toys. However, that being the case, my favourite toys were. I'll tell you what my personal favourites were. I know what my personal absolute 2 favourites were, and then I'll answer it another way. So my absolute 2 favourites were. Have you ever seen the Pink Panther TV show that used to be on in the early 70s? You may not have done. So quick recap about Pink Panther. The Pink Panther, the cartoon character, was created for the title sequence of the Pink Panther movies starring Inspector Clouseau. And Friz Freleng, the really famous Warner Brothers animator, made those titles. And then he spun the Pink Panther out into a whole series of animated shorts, right? When I was a kid, when I was about 10 years old, these were all collected into a TV show. Like it would have been shown Saturday mornings in the States, I'm sure. And basically, at the beginning of each show, you would see like this 10, 11-year-old kid driving this kind of really futuristic supercar to like Grauman's Chinese Theatre. And at the theatre, the animated version of the Inspector and the animated version of the Pink Panther would get out and walk into the theatre, and that was the start of the show. Well, in the UK, they maybe in the US as well, but they merchandised that car, the Pink Panther mobile, and it was one of these. Let's see if I can the best way I can describe it. It's a drag racer style car, all in pink, right, with a big central wheel and a kind of wire that when you pull through, when you whip it through the where the central wheel is, it takes a lot of traction. It goes like a rocket, right? So I used to have a very long lounge in the house that I used to grow up in, and I used to love playing with that thing. I had a special rubberized end because it went with such force. It really did go very, very quickly. So I loved the Pink Panther mobile. And in the same vein, are you familiar with the show UFO at all? Do you know what that is?
I don't think I know that show. I don't know if it came to America. I might have, but I don't think I'm familiar with it.
It came to America in a limited way. So basically, are you aware of the Jerry Anderson supermarionation shows, the puppet shows, like Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet, right? Stingray. So his first live action show that he made, a couple of years after he made Captain Scarlet, it's called UFO, and it's about an organization called Shadow, which is an acronym, and it's spelled SHADO, who are fighting an alien invasion. And the head of Shadow is called Ed Straker, and he was played by a character called Ed Bishop. And typical Jerry Anderson, it's all full of major gadgets and whatnot. So Straker is, on the outside, he runs a movie studio, which is either shot at Shepperton or Pinewood using a real movie studio location. But in reality, he runs this huge network of people fighting aliens. And the essential conceit is he goes into his office in the movie studio, shuts the door, presses a button, and his office goes down 2 levels, below ground. And that office within the Shadow organization, which is completely underneath the movie studio, right? Anyway, the show at the time was set in 1980, but it was filmed in about 1970, right? And so everything was done in this kind of 70s futuristic style. And Straker used to have a very unique kind of sports car with wing doors that open on the sides like that. And I also had a toy of that, which was in a kind of like gold chrome. And again, it had one of those kind of actions whereby if you pulled the car back on a flat surface and let it go, it would just fly off its speed. So yeah, I don't know. For somebody who's not into toys, I've just spent minutes talking about things that are seared into my mind. The other thing I was going to say before I thought about those, and I love those toys, both of them, is that there were a lot of shows that obviously I used to love my 60s Batmobile. Love that.
You talking the Corgi
Um,
Batmobile or something else?
yeah, it was the Corgi Batmobile. The Corgi had a Batmobile. I had multiple versions of that over the years because I played them so much they got wrecked. I tell you what was released in the UK, but they never released the show, and so it was a real anomaly. And one of my friends had it, a guy called Alan Willissey. It's the Green Hornet's Black Beauty. Basically, Corgi released the Black Beauty, and it's very rare because the show never got screened in the UK. So people would have the Black Beauty that they bought, but they wouldn't even know what it was from. This friend of mine, Alan Willissey, knowing him, he probably still has it. Was tremendously. I wasn't envious, but I really had the desire to own that myself. You know what I mean? I mean, the thing is, the world in which I grew up. So I was 10 years old in '73. So watching things in the late '70s when I was 7 or 8, it's not like now where merchandise is prevalent and it's all over the place.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, you couldn't get a T-shirt with the Superman logo on it. They flat out didn't exist. You couldn't get a T-shirt with a Batman logo on it. I mean, you couldn't buy them anywhere. I remember longing for that stuff until I was far too old to ever want it, and then you could get it. You know what I mean? Now everybody wears a shirt with Superman logo on, but I'm not kidding, mate. In the early '70s, it just didn't exist.
Very true.
I'll tell you the final toy that I remember. Man, I'm accessing all these toy memories now. I started this by going, yeah, I'm not really into toys. And the funny thing is, personally, I'm much more of a books and a movie person than I am a collector personally. But these toys from my childhood are kind of indelibly stamped, right? As they are for so many people. And the other thing I can remember, which is interesting, I think you find this interesting, mate, because I'm a massive comics fan. But I'm from Liverpool in England. I grew up reading American comics, which would always have ads for all the Saturday morning cartoon shows in America, which I couldn't see because they weren't on over here in England. That was torture reading that. I was like, man, I would love to watch this. And it was the same with toys. There's all manner of kind of toy releases which got advertised. And I was like, I would love to own this. But you just can't. You didn't even see them. To me, and I've seen them online now as an adult, but I couldn't even get close to owning that stuff.
So, Andrew, thank you so much for telling us about all of the cool stuff that Titan is working on. We're going to have links for everything in the notes below, but can you tell us right now, how can folks follow Titan and keep up to date with what you guys are doing?
Follow us on Twitter at Titan Merch, on Instagram at Titan Merch. You can follow us at titanmerchandise.com. Probably the best way to keep up to date with us, rather than at titanmerchandise.com, would actually be on our Facebook page, Titan Merchandise. And then you can follow myself and Forbidden Planet TV on the Forbidden Planet TV channel on YouTube, and also Forbidden Planet exists on Twitter and on Instagram at Forbidden Planet. But if you check out, I would recommend subscribing to the Forbidden Planet TV YouTube channel, because if I've got anything pressing to talk about on a merch front, we'll almost certainly talk about it there. But yeah, if you keep your eye on our Facebook page and you keep an eye, which has been uncharacteristically quiet over the last year for obvious reasons, because the retail and merch world has been quiet. But we are still there, and we are still regularly posting and retweeting. And yeah, check out Forbidden Planet TV on YouTube.
And let's give a shout out also to the unofficial Titan Merchandise Society. It's a really great Facebook community where you can go check out other fans at their collections and just talk more about Titan merchandise stuff. So thank you so much, Andrew.
And big thanks to the guy who runs the unofficial Titan Merchandise Society, Dave Duff. Hope you're well, Dave. Stay well, man.
So that's our chat with Andrew Sumner, EVP of Titan. Got some great Titan vinyls coming up this year. A lot of good stuff to look forward to. I'm especially looking forward to those Cowboy Bebop figures. So yeah, make sure you guys are staying tuned to all of their social media pages. Keep up to date on all that cool stuff. So stick around because there's more nerd news today. Toy Fair 2021 coming right up.